recap on anything.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So welcome everybody. Thank you for coming along to the Secure by Designs webinar. The basis of this is self-explanatory, but the Joinery Network have been working behind the scenes to get accreditation for their product range, the Lignium range, which we've now branded. Not just to have PAS 24 2016 security testing, but to have a whole range of accreditation for this product, and then have it controlled and audited through the Ucas third-party verification scheme. This gives us a better footing within the industry to show and demonstrate that our products comply continuously to current building regulations and British standards, because it's very easy to test a product on a given day and assume that you've cracked it and that product will perform on that criteria and that quality year on year out. But the reality is, timber being timber, and product changing within screws and locks and things, that you can have failure if you don't design a product that's highly efficient. So what we've done is we've teamed up with a Ucas test center, build check, to get third-party verification as a system house. So our Lignium range now comes under the system manufacturing product range, and then companies can sign up to the third-party verification as we go along. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen. Have I got access, Andy, to sharing the screen?
Yes, you should have access to.
I should have access.
Yeah,
so if I share my screen, hello, Alita. I didn't see you hiding in the corner.
You're right.
Yeah, not too bad. Right, I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully everybody can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Right, just thumbs up, because I want everybody to mute for the moment so that I can talk clearly. So I'm just going to put it up onto the larger screen. So obviously, we'll go through very quickly. I know some of my existing members know about the Joinery Network and understand who we are, but we want to just cover it for everybody. So the Joinery Network has been formed realistically to put timber window and doors into a market, a high quality market, to guarantee continuous process, continuous quality and high performance. So the golden ticket for 2021, timber should be taking a larger share of the market, because it's environmentally friendly. It's got a very good green badge. It's also readily available, lower maintenance programs, aesthetically looks better than most other products in the opinion of the consumer. So there's a great opportunity here for customers. So the Joinery Network, for those who don't know, I'm just going to have to move. I've got a screen over there, so let's move that to the side. Right, it provides a resource of experts and services and knowledge throughout the joinery industry to help our customers. And how we achieve this, we obviously started with PAS 24 and 6375 weather testing. Then we manufacture this consistently by having training details, method statements, drawings to guide customers on how to continually make the same product. We bring in leading tooling companies in lights tooling, who have got dedicated tooling systems for all types of machines, not just spindles and tenoners. We can do window lines, CNC, whatever's required for that company to invest and move forward. But for the smaller businesses, and this is what we're targeting mostly, the smaller companies who start off with just a small spindle with a table and a fence, can make this quality product. It doesn't have to be medium to large companies that do this. In the past, it's always been the larger manufacturers that have gone down the route of certification and certification. But we're now allowing you to become compliant, a very small investment at the start of your journey, and to grow your business. So this is me, obviously 35, nearly 40 years experience now within this industry on various guys, whether it be with the timber window and doors, installation, or furniture or kitchen fitting. I've been involved in many aspects of joinery. We brought Close Brothers on board to asset finance the tooling, but also machinery to help spread cost. And fiscally, have we looked at R&D? I'm sure a lot of companies are looking at R&D tax credits, and I know because of COVID, this has slowed down a little bit, and HRMC are being a little bit more stringent on who they will let through and who they won't let through. But there's still money to be had, and claims to be sent and verified. I've had my own R&D tax credits verified and finally got payment this week, which is great, and I can invest that back into the business. BJ Waller, obviously part of the partnership, and they stock all the hardware that are within the Lignium range off the shelf to save you time and trouble trawling the industry trying to find the right parts. And then DHJ, obviously a quality Stonebridge range with class 5 salt spray testing, which means it's got longer lasting product, very durable, but also aesthetically it's very traditional. And the Kelvin, our software partners. Kelvin is a dedicated, not just window and door software, but predominantly we've set it up as a window door software. It's plug and play, it's ready to go, it's got all of our sections in it, and we just have to set that up for your manufacturing process. And then balls to marketing. So the leading marketing for glazing and joinery specialists. They have a wealth of knowledge for the timber industry, but for installation market. They also do the PVC and that as well, but we are focusing heavily on timber and the UK timber market. These are the guys to go to. So these are the 8 partners, and these are our affiliates. The affiliates are here to support us, but also to support you. Supplying from Latham to supply quality materials to the industry, great service chain across the UK, centre for our bifolds, our bifolding gear, fully tested past 24. Winkhouse goes on all our door sets, and the quality hardware works very well with timber. Technos, obviously, for the paint supplies, quality water-based microporous systems. There's lots of experts in here. Ilbrook covering all our silicons, weather seals, glazing, gaskets, and all of those things. And MBM, specialist timber suppliers to the UK, with a very large R&D section that I like working with. International Timber, who are new to the Joinery network, offering door blanks and panels, to various designs that we have now. We've got a new product on the market now, which is a timber composite door that passed the test three weeks ago on the past 24, went through very well. Deventer for all our weather sealing, and Temple. These are all very good additions to the Joinery network, and you can contact these guys all directly. So the Joinery network, everything a joiner needs as a manufacturer to sell sustainable, superior timber windows and doors. To enable your reliable route to market, the first thing we started with, obviously, to form a safe, legal past 24 certification for timber windows and doors. This specialized chain has invested a comprehensive system tested. We've tested a very large range, and I'll show you what they are in a moment, creating more opportunities for the specifier to source timber windows and compliant joinery manufacturers. And anybody who comes on board with the Joinery Network family gets some advertising, but also go onto our website and have a postcode finder, which helps attract architects and contractors back to your businesses. So Joinery Network is about growing a portfolio of sustainable timber windows and doors. Work with the joinery manufacturers is what we do to increase your capacity and productivity through systems, tooling, timber resources, saving on waste, investing completely in the window system through all the testing that we've done, the certification. and promote sustainable products through the homeowners. We are the only self-sustainable source in the world. Now, we really don't shout about this. Joiners don't tell customers how good they are, and they need to do more, and that's what we're here to help. So engaging with sales installation companies to satisfy demands. So why are timber window doors ready for 2021? The reality is that 80% of timber window doors go into the home improvement market. We know that a lot of the larger house builders are still using plastic, but that is changing. That's changing considerably. Certainly on the one-off self builds, the smaller contractors are making sort of 1, 2, 3 per plots a year. They are looking for higher quality products. Wood Window Alliance states that 52% of house owners believe that timber windows and doors provide more character, which is, factual. The installation value of timber windows in circular is around about 450 million every year. So there's plenty of opportunity there for everyone. The government's already stating that it's way behind its house build targets and goals. So, this is going to improve. In the last few surveys in 2008, timber window sales grew by 25%. It's growing in year on, year out. The timber windows are significantly outperforming the market volume and a higher installed sales price. So why homos would choose timber? Premium for obviously colours and flush sash multi-chamber frames from increasing prices of PVC is going up a lot. There is a shortage of resin for these products. They're now also making what they call timber joints rather than mitre joints, which is slowing down the process and obviously increasing the complexity, which increases their price. So they are becoming closer to our product. But the good thing is our products will last longer. The BWF stated that there are many examples of research that shows timber windows are between 14 to 20% less expensive if you build it over the life cycle of a window. Now, most windows, the desired life of timber is 30 years, and it can be longer than that, provided the right paint coatings are looked and the maintenance program. And the maintenance doesn't have to be every year. It does depend on location and exposure, obviously, and the type of coating you're putting on there, whether it be opaque or translucent. But generically, I would say you'll be recoating every 5 to 10 years, depending on where that product is. So remember, 50% of householders like the idea of timber. So we just have to show them that we can do better, be cost effective, and enhance their property. And a lot of people realize when they buy a product that enhances that home, it gives saleability of that home and greater sort of desire to the market. So the complete range of PAS 24 windows and doors ready for the market. This is our lignin brand. This is what we're marketing. By branding the product, we're giving it a larger voice, a larger audience. We can promote this rather than just keep saying white noise like timber windows, wooden windows. If you give it a brand, it attracts more interest. People want to know what lignin is, what it does, and why they should be buying or signing up to it. So obviously the Joinery network have invested a substantial amount of revenue, time, and effort to get to the point that we are now. Testing required for SBD and secure by design. So this is what the slight change. So previously, all we did was we done PAS 24 2016. That allowed us to meet document Q regulations. Even though document Q still states 2012, we want to work to the latest British standard because you can't test to the lowest standard anymore. But SBD stipulates it has to be 2016 testing. Full weather testing, 6375 Part 1. Further testing under 6375 Parts 2 and 3. And then we have a Ucas third-party verification scheme member. And I'll go through what all of these things are. And then you're audited on an annually to check that you're compliant. So this guarantees that the product performs all the time because we're testing year on, year out. So just very quickly what the PAS 24 is, because I'm sure a lot of people have heard this all before. So the PAS 24 is mechanical test requirements. So they test the infill first, which is either glass or panel, and they force that with a hydraulics up to 2,000 newtons of pressure in all four corners. Then they do a mechanical loading on all the locking points, hinge points. For windows, it's 3,000 newtons of pressure, and for doors, it's 4,500 newtons of pressure. Then we go through the manual testing. The manual infill testing is using various tools, crowbars, standing blades, screwdrivers, chisels, that sort of thing. And they're given a 3-minute point attack over 15 minutes to try and gain entry. Manipulation is manipulating keeps, locks, chute bolts, and various things with the same sets of tools. And a manual attack with crowbar, screwdrivers, standing blades, and they can do a lot of damage with standing blades, I can assure you. So we have to use the right designs, we have to use the right material types. And at the moment, we're still struggling with Accoya, but we'll endeavour and we'll move forward. And then we have a loading test, and this is just for door sets. So you have your hard body and soft body loading tests. So they hit the door with a 30 kilogram leather bag in 3 points at various heights times 3, and then they use a 50 kilogram steel bar at all lock points and all hinge points to try and force entry. So you can see it's a very robust, very comprehensive testing process. And this is whether it's a window, a door, a bifold, pair of doors, everything has to go through the same process. Then 6375 parts 1, and then obviously significantly for SBD, we have to have parts 2 and 3. So, excuse me. Right, so part 1 is mainly the weather performance test that goes into a rig and it's put under pressure. It does an air permeability test up to 600 PA, and then you get a classification. Generally, you would expect most products to, certainly for timber, to go to a classification of 3 or better. All of our products are 3 or 4 because it's the best and the highest performance you can get. And then we have a water test, and they basically pump water at the product until it leaks, and then you get a classification again. And then a positive and negative wind pressure test to try and deflect the substrates and deform them and see if there's any movement. This test provides a performance that enables you to add warranties to your product and us to safely say that this product's going to perform to a given time, whether you give a 5 or 10-year warranty on your product. We aim to achieve a high industry level that is sustainable for the market. The air permeability also has a 50 PA reading in it, which allows us to do energy ratings, even though we don't always sell that. It's a great marketing ploy to say we've got an A-rated window, even though it's mainly the plastic industry that uses this technology because they don't get good U values. All of our products, the U values will be available to given glass specs. We start mainly with 24 mil units and 24.8 laminated units to give a full comprehensive U value calculation to our customers. Now 6375 part 2 is an additional test that we've now had to add to the range for SVD, and this is mainly an operational test and a loading test. So they basically open and close the door or window, I think 30,000 times for windows and 50,000 times for a door. And people don't stand there physically opening and closing because I think that'd be quite a boring job, but very exciting not at all. So they have mechanics doing all of that sort of thing. They also do loading for child restrictors to see if there's any deflection, and they also hang weights off at opening parts of the product to see if it still operates after a child's been swinging off a handle to use it as a toy. They want to see if the product's still going to perform. And then we have to do 6375 part 3, where this is just an additional security measure to check performance. We have already done, excuse me, past 24, but unfortunately with this criteria, if we pass past 24, we'll walk through this test, but we still have to go through that process. So the Ucas third-party verification scheme. The first thing you have to do, if you want to become a member and want to sign up to SBD, Obviously, you've got all of our products. You have the training. You can make our products either through the tooling, and you've had method statements and drawings to show you how to make that product. You're buying the hardware from BJ Waller. But now you have to have a factory controlled system. Now, ISO 9001 is a factory control system. So if people have got ISO 9001, they still have to have this third-party verification document, but it's a very small document that we at the Joinery Network have drafted, and we can adapt this document for every company individually. The thing that basically it maps out how you gain orders through contacts, continuous repeat work, and then what do you do with that order once you've captured it, how it goes through the factory. So from paperwork that goes down to the factory to dictate how the product's been made, how you order glass, how you order hardware, following the drawing process and the method statements for the machinery, using the right tooling. That is your document control system. Everybody in the machine shop, if they buy into Joinery Network, is already doing this. All we've done is put it into a document that makes it accessible for Ucas to check and audit. So we will visit any new members with Ucas on the first day to go through your process. We will guide you through that. There's no failure point on this. If you haven't done things quite right, we will put a small non-conformance, and that non-conformance will mean you've got X amount of time to put that right and show evidence that you're now compliant. This will go through the current manufacturing process and help streamline this to make a continuous high quality product to the customer. This safeguards your business. So if you're giving it a warranty, you need to know that that product's made the same way to the same quality year on, year out. And this is what the Ucas third-party verification scheme does. It makes you work more efficiently. It makes sure that you are controlling your product and everybody within your business understands the process. And the customer then gets a high quality product at the end. You'll be audited annually. So once a year, once we do the initial audit with Ucas and we set your control document up, you won't be audited again until the following year. But you just need to make sure that you are following that document and show evidence throughout that year that you have followed that document. And it'll be things like calibrating tape measures to make sure that they are accurate and measuring accurately, how you're checking, quality control checking the product coming off the machines, how you're ordering hardware, glass, and parts for the product. You'll also be audited annually to, once set up, to agree process and audited for a sample. So they will send you an email and request a sample at a given size, and they'll take that back to the lab and do PAS 24 2016 test on it. They won't do the full test because that's normally 3 samples, but they will do the worst case scenario to make sure that that product's still performing to the highest level. This way, if any legislation changes in the meantime, if we have a change in PAS 24 or 6375 and there's an improvement within the test process, that automatically goes into your testing audit sample so that you know that you're compliant. Also, if we want to change a part or introduce a new part, we can do that within the sample to get it checked. So it's a way of continuously improving your product. So why sign up to this scheme? What will the benefits to your business? To improve your company standing, what we're trying to do is raise the joinery profile within the industry. So at the moment, we are still very much perceived as bespoke joiners, making all sundry staircases, kitchens, cabinetry, carpentry, cabinets, furniture, windows and doors, and external joinery. What we're trying to do is put you into a dedicated quality window manufacturer within the market, raising your profile so that you can tender for contracts that generally would be outside your scope. So Joinery Network will help you grow your company profile. This will make you more competitive against others because you'll become more efficient and better quality product. Improve your quotation to order percentage because you'll be able to quote for jobs that you would generally not go for. Help improve the quality control throughout your business. This is what the document will control. Marketing support as part of the Joinery Network family and also under SBD, because every time a new member comes under the SBD badge, They would do some marketing for you to promote your business. Your company profile and products go onto their website, which obviously attracts homeowners directly, potentially bringing more work back to yourself. And we promote the Lignin range constantly, daily, through various social media platforms, bringing work back to the Lignin family and hopefully back to you guys. And this allows, obviously, like I said, with the SBD becoming more and more prominent within the market, it's not just saying that your product's secure and robust. It's actually saying that the Police Federation are saying that it is the place to go to buy a quality product that's going to perform to the highest level. So it's a great advertising for the business, and also for your company to promote itself, to be in a standing, not just as a joiner, but also as a system quality, high quality product. So obviously, this will help you meet all the current building regulations, but it's not just about new build. This is also about refurb. Insurance companies are getting on board and want to know, when you do replacement windows, what are the security requirements, what are the performance requirements of those windows that will lower insurance premiums and help the consumer, the housing market, invest more heavily in a quality product. But the main things for the meeting the building regs is obviously we have performance requirements under .Q, which we meet. Part L, which is your conservation of fuel and power, which is your full weather testing. Now, we've tested all our products through Ucas under BS 177 Part 1. So we've got guaranteed report documents saying that these U values, not just a software that says, oh, it's about 1.4. The reality is these have been physically tested and meet British standards. We've also done these with hardwood and softwood so that we know the difference between the two types of species, to help customers, because we're still getting predominantly asked for hardwood. Part M, obviously, for mobility access. So you've got full accreditation for this product, not just weather performance, security, thermals, mobility access, everything's covered within the Lignin family. So CE marks is part of this process as well. So under the Construction Production Regulation 2013, all external doors should have the CE mark for new build products. This sort of thing can be self-certified, but a DOP, Declaration of Performance, under all these test criteria shows that your product performs to the highest level. So the two standards applicable for the CE marks are CE mark for windows and doors are 14351, which is our guidance for windows and doors, 16034, which is mainly for fire doors, which we don't get involved in at the moment. So manufacturers can self-certify if they want to under 14351. We have done this already for you. So we've looked at the CE marking criteria and issued DOPs for these products, so we know what they perform to. And the main criteria for these is obviously dangerous substances. Well, I would hope we don't have any in them. It's timber as a sustainable source. Thermal transmittance, which is our U value calculations. Load bearing capacity, which is your safety device. And then your factory controlled system. And this is the part that you need for Ucas. This is the third party verification part. And we've got, if you sign up to this scheme, you'll be covered under the CE mark. So how are we delivering this? For those who know, the companies who have already been worked with, they know how I've been delivering this. But we test product as we have under PAS 24 and 6375 parts 1, 2, and 3. We cascade this evidence down with the certification that you can see on the right hand side, that has all the test numbers within that scheme and the criteria that it tests to. It has the company logo, your company details on there, the date it starts, the date it finishes. Provides a complete method statement, so all drawings, step-by-step guides on how to glaze, how to fit panels, how to fit hardware, what the parameters are. We train all managers and operatives. I do prefer to train the staff rather than managers, because sometimes this information gets watered down a little bit when it gets passed on from one person to another. So I do prefer to train the people that are actually doing the job on a daily basis, because they'll have the pertinent questions and answers, and I'll have the answers to guide them through. Obviously, we have machine and tooling manufacturing required. So when we're doing the meta statements, we also, if you invest in the tooling, I will come down and help you set up the tooling. We'll do some trials and make some product to get that tooling working to the most efficient manner. Part of the certification scheme will be to sign up to a complete detailed process with these experienced people. So these are the partners and the affiliates. All of these people have been in the industry a long time. They're here to support you. They're ready, available, and we can give you contacts to the right people within those companies to help get the products that you need to make our lignium range. So tip of procurement, I look at and advise on the best methods, and I would always be looking at engineered boards rather than solids, because it's less labor, less waste, and better for the environment. So it makes perfect sense, and the customer gets a quality product because it takes all the defects out of the materials. Assembly of hardware. So we go through all of the fitting of locks and handles and hinges and the parameters and the weights that they can take, so that you know exactly what the maximums and minimums are. BJ Waller will stock all of these products on the shelf, and I will give you a list of all the codes and product types that are needed product by product, and then you contact BJ Waller operatives separately, and they will then do a price structure for you. Glazing training, like we say, full glazing training and panel fitting training, because they are very similar in their methods. We glaze in the same manner, and anybody who's interested in how that works can speak to me afterwards. And all of these have to be controlled, because this is the .Q part, this is the security part of the product as well. If we don't glaze it correctly, then we're going to lose some of the enhancements. These are the range of products that we've tested. And this is not comprehensive. We are testing more stuff as we go along and adding product continuously. And we also will go back at some point and revisit some of these products to try and improve on them. If we thought that they were working okay, but maybe over-engineered a little bit, we may look and try and improve them in the future. So we're always going to be developing. We're always going to be changing engineering to try and improve these products. But once you've bought into the solution with the tooling, that tooling solution is going to be fixed. Andy at Balls to Market is now details some lignium data sheets for us. These are going to be coming live in the next couple of weeks. These are going to be document data sheets that you can send to architects and planners. They will show details of the section, so the architect can see what he's buying into. He can design his structures around these. They'll also have a database down here of the testing that we've covered. The parameters in here of what section sizes you can use with your frame sections from 93 to 57 framing and so forth. It'll tell you what you can, what types of sealed units are available, hardware available, and then obviously trickle vents and those sort of things. So it's a nice little document that you can just send out either on PDF or have it on your website, and customers can buy into this. And we're going to be adding these products to it. This is the casement, so it's just a generic head seal jam sections showing the criteria that we've tested to, and what you can achieve. So this is basically an MBS spec, what architects generally specify when they want to know what a product will adhere to, because they're trying to meet certain legislations. This is just showing a French door set, again with the same data. These are going to be made into proper data sheets, and I know Andy at Balls to Market has almost completed these, so it's fairly imminent that these will be coming out to the industry. And this is, sorry, drop that one. This is just a box ash window with the same criteria. It's going to give you a nice sort of portfolio of products. We also we've got a brochure that we can adapt. There is a small cost to that, but there is the brochures out there that we can adapt to the smaller joinery businesses who can add their logos and add some of their glossaries, become more personalized. So there's lots of things the Joinery Network are going to be doing for the industry. And going forward, we're looking at CERTAS, and that's something that Andy will be promoting in the coming months, which is the installation governing body. There's huge opportunities there to have CERTAS installers as your customers, bringing work back to you. So I hope that's of interest to you guys. So thank you very much for your time. I am now going to stop sharing the screen, and then I believe Doug will take over and explain a little bit more about what SBE is and why you should become members of this scheme. So thank you again. Doug, are you ready for your presentation?
Yeah, I'll just try and share the screen.
Whilst you're doing that, Doug, if anybody's got any questions, please ask them on the chat and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. It'll be either Doug or Owen will be able to give you, hopefully, the answers you're looking for.
Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, that's fine, Doug. Thank you.
That's right. I'll run the show. So. Well, I'm just I won't go over some of the stuff that Owen's obviously already done, so, but I'm just going to be a bit about what SBD is, because obviously some people don't always understand truly what it's about. A bit about product reputation and a bit about us working together with Joinery Network, really. So let me just right. Well, SBD is the obviously official crime prevention initiative for the UK Police Force. So, and what we do is for the last 32 years, probably, I think it's coming up 33, we've been doing this, and it's been designing out crime, which is obviously looking at the wider picture and housing estates, but also physical security. So, funny enough, the project actually started to do with back 32 years ago about the poor standards of doors and windows in the UK and how that was leading to nearly 2 million burglaries a year. So I worked in London, and in my area had about 600 a month, and some of them were PVC and externally beaded, but obviously quite a few were timber as well. So so that's why we started. A bit about our governance. Obviously, we're police owned. We're actually owned by the Mayor's Office, Policing and Crime in London now. So they are the PCC for the Met Police. So they own the actual one share, but we don't get any money from any other organisation. We generate our own through the licensing scheme. The board's made up of major chief constables and from the National Police Chiefs Council, and they, along with a couple of external people, look after what we're going to be doing. So whether it's SBD and some of the other initiatives that we do, like safer parking, licensing scheme, alarm systems for the police service, you know, some cyber security stuff that we're doing now. So there's quite a variety of stuff that we do. It's not just about SBD, but obviously this is the major part of it. So this is our little team. Obviously Alfie's on the call today. He's the technical manager. But we have a Kenny who looks after Northern Ireland, well, actually all of Ireland and Scotland. We've got quite a few joinery people over there. Hazel covers the Northwest, Roy's the Midlands and Birmingham. I've been here quite a while. I've been here nearly 9 years, so I cover the East Midlands and East Anglia, but I used to look after London, and that's how I know Owen, you know, from Essex. So, but I'm going to be the point of contact for anyone wanting to join SBD through the Joinery Network. So moving forward, so I'm going to be the one you need to speak to. A little bit about the scheme. Obviously, like I sort of said, it's about layout and design. A lot of this stuff came from America back in the 70s and 80s about high density housing, but obviously it's not just about that. But the key thing which has really reduced the theft has been, you know, physical security and the improvement from the industry over the last 30 years of door and window standards, you know, obviously past 24 being the main one for residential properties, but you know, people complying that, and we've got 500 members maybe that do this sort of product. You know, it has really improved the amount of crime that's going on. That's what we're trying to do. That's what Secure by Design is about. It's about reducing crime in the UK, and obviously stopping victims, you know, of burglary and other crimes. We have over 200 officers, sometimes called design out crime officers, or and most areas have them. There's the odd area without them, but they cover most of the UK, Ireland, Scotland, and they give advice to developers and architects free of charge. So they often work in the planning departments. You know, I know in London, where there's at least 40 of them, you know, they work 1 day a week or 2 days a week within the planning department. So they go and meet architects, designers, developers, you know, they're looking at you know, doing houses, but they would actually, in some areas, actually speak to self-builds as well. So we've got a guide about self-build, so it's quite a big part of the market. But over the beginning of the project was more about big housing estates, but it has changed over the years. So there's a little bit about, there's been a lot of research into it, and how much by university professors and that, how the security part and the other parts can actually reduce crime. So it's very well looked upon by the government, well, it doesn't matter which party, but and the Home Office, you know, and the DCLG. And this is why, you know, we've obviously got SPD used to be a large part of that built environment stuff. Now, you might have heard about our guides. Our guides have been out for the last about 20 years. They cover homes, which is the main one for residential, but also commercial. There's a new one coming out for healthcare, and there's a new one coming out for education, which covers schools and universities. So the homes one is obviously probably one you would be more keen on. There is a new version. In fact, a new version of all of these coming out this year. So we've been working with other agencies like the Fire Brigade, counter-terrorism on these guidance. So you will see new versions. The standards, I don't think will change, especially not past 24. So that's not due for a change just yet. But they're I wouldn't say they're nighttime reading or anything, but you know, they're worth having a look at, especially on the physical security side, which is part 2 normally known. So this is the home section. I'll just give you. Developers can get a gold award, which covers all of it: cycle storage, you know, car parking and everything else in the home. It covers section 1 and 2, which is the layout and the physical. But sometimes they just go for the physical side and don't do the other parts. But it just depends often what the planning condition is and what the developer wants to do. But most of them can easily achieve the gold award. But silver, obviously, if they get that, they can easily give that to the planning department for Part Q, and that obviously meets that requirement. So it's easy to obtain. Bronze is more for bespoke houses, like 1 or 2. We're about SPD, you know, over the years, over 1 million homes have been built to that standard. And the major thing there is the burglary reduction, really. It's, you know, from those 2 million figures we were talking about, you know, it's down 87%. So that's a result of us and the industry getting together, really, and working together. But obviously, you can see a little bit about CO2 and the carbon cost of crime, because obviously, if we keep having to knock houses down and rebuild them, especially big housing estates, you know, it's really impacts on everybody. They become no-go areas. In fact, one of the chief constables in Wales actually said it would have been easy to build him a housing estate himself, because it would have cost him less in policing in the long term. So this is why we're here. You know, we don't want to be, you know, knocking these areas down. You know, they become ghettos and everything else goes around it. So good security makes all the difference. I worked in Peckham, and you know, once we started doing past 24 doors and windows, the burglary rate dropped drastically. You know, it really does work. I'm speeding through this a bit because obviously I'm sure you've got a lot of questions. Obviously, Owen's been through a lot of this. So Joinery Network have got a system specification, which is really new. I mean, nobody's ever done this for timber. I mean, I've been to, and Alfie would have been to various places over the years, and, you know, unlike aluminium and PVC suppliers, you know, they can't cascade evidence. So this is sort of groundbreaking, really. So hopefully now, you know, because the cost of doing the testing for every individual timber person is just too much. So they can now obviously compete with some of the other products that are about. So obviously third-party accreditation can be done through Build Check, past 24, and then obviously you can get police preferred specification, which is sort of our badge saying it's an approved product, really. So I think it's marvelous, really. The amount of people that's approached me in the last 8 or 9 years with small, really nice timber manufacturers as well, but, you know, it was the cost of getting products tested. So, you know, credit to the Joinery Network, really. So, which means now you have a route to SPD, so you can get your products. Obviously, this nice house, you know, you can get your windows and doors tested and approved. Importantly, done the third-party accreditation, but and get the police preferred specification. Now that not only refers to the doors and windows, but there is lots of other products on our website, like 3-star cylinders you probably came across, you know, that do get, and the hardware gets approval. But there's lots of other products as well. You know, it's not just in the door and window side. So it's worth having a look just generally for crime, you know, because it affects us all. Why we became a member? Well, we've got lots of members within the timber side. I will say, and I'll signpost it to the timber area, but they tend to be the major players. You know, a lot of those are from overseas. You know, doing Timber Valley. So having, you know, smaller companies that can actually get SPD through the cascaded evidence will be really good, and then they can use police preferred specification, really. So when we're meeting architects, which often then go to the SPD website to look for compliant products, because they want to, you know, they don't want to be trying to source products from past 24. The easy route for them is to go to the SPD website, and we obviously do lots of talks with Reba and the like, you know. So, but obviously, you know, we do marketing around social media, you know, and if we're at trade shows or home building renovation shows, you know, we do that with members as well. So there's lots of benefits from joining. We've got over 800 members. I think it stands at maybe about 850 now. Been quite busy last year, believe it or not. And I think there's about 7,000 plus security products now. So some of them are to be doors and windows, but there is other things. But there is an awful lot of, about 450, 500 of our members are door and window companies, so, or hardware people. So, and once people join, we don't actually lose many people either. They tend to stay with the scheme. You know, we're not here to make lots of money out of it. We're here to reduce crime. And then, sort of lastly, I mean, one of the things we've got a press department now, a press and media, and we'd like to do things on that. So we get it in journals, you know, whether it's going to architects or trade journals, depending on what it is, you know, and social media. I mean, that's working really well. So, yeah, no, so there's that opportunity for you to use that. I said I'll keep it short, but if you've got any questions, and obviously I've left my details up there, so you've got them, and if you need to speak to me, please do. So I kept it short, Owen.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Doug. That's it's very interesting. So have we I believe Andy wants to just come in a minute. Andy, you got?
Yeah, just had a quick question from Sammy at Foxstone Joinery. Thanks very much, Sammy. But the data sheets will be available, should be by the end of next week. Just going through final technical checks now. So we will be sending them to all license holders, and they'll be available on the website as well from the week after. So we're really pleased to have those. We think they'll really help when you're talking to any client or to architects. Also, just to reiterate on what Owen said earlier, thank you so much to all our partners. Thank you very much, Doug, for all your help in getting SBD up and running. I know, this is in some way a little bit of a departure for SBD from and you've had to make things work, but we really appreciate it, and it's a very exciting thing for us. Also to our founder partners who are a massive help. We have another new partner as well, which is Temple Knight, who Brett, I believe you're here, so thanks very much for joining us and getting involved with the Joinery Network. Temple Knight, very interesting business because they offer a lot of ways to be able to access expensive kits such as computers, print, office equipment, and also other products that they're looking to support us on leasing and other ways that you can get hold of materials. But we'll be sending you a lot more information out about what they do and our other affiliates as well over the next few weeks and coming times, because we've developed within the Joinery Network in a very short period of time some fantastic partners who can really help your business in so many different ways. So keep an eye out for our emails that we'll send out regularly, and we'll be welcoming comments and advice and everything from our partners and our affiliate partners. So over really to you, Owen and Doug, to answer any questions, and you guys please ask any questions that you have.
Okay, so obviously, the presentation's complete. If anybody's got any questions on how to get involved with this, whether it's the Joinery Network as per se, firstly as the cascaded licensing scheme, or to actually take it to the next level and have SBD accreditation regarding third-party verification. Has anybody got any questions about this?
Don't forget to unmute.
I am unmuted. So unmute everybody. I mean, we've worked with, just to give you a quick ballpark, we're working with BuildCheck. BuildCheck have come up with a very favourable price structure for our customers to help gain compliancy. Generically, I spoke to various test laboratories over the last year and a half trying to get this up and running. Kept hitting a brick wall because the costs were astronomical. Some of the test labs were coming back like £10,000 per annum, and I said it's just a non-starter, it's not going to work. But BuildCheck have worked closely with us. This is why we've done a document that is has been drafted, that's attainable from all from the Joinery Network, that can be adapted to all manufacturing facilities, changing key names for various roles within the business, and also who controls various parts, whether it be the sales, the manufacturing, the purchasing, all of those things. So to get it down to it's around about £1,050 per year for the third-party verification, and then Doug will come back with a various SBD price depending on your turnover. So anything from 500,000 is a starting point, and then anything over £1 million is the next point, and so forth. It grows, and it's based on that figure. So it's quite a low cost. For the audit sample per year, it's going to be about £500 to have an audit sample sent to the lab, which guarantees that your product is controlled. Because the thing is, if I come round to your facility and I do the training and I give you all the details and drawings, and I'm obviously on technical support with you on a regular basis, if you're unsure that you're doing something right, it'll be found out within the testing. So if you go through the test, you know you're doing it right, you know you're doing it the right way. It's a way of safeguarding your process. So we've got,
Owen, can I just ask one question?
yes.
In regards to the licenses, so if you've already got the Part Q licenses, for example,
Yes.
and do you mentioned a figure of £1,000 just now? Yeah.
Yes.
Is that per product?
No, that's total.
That covers
That's for your, that's your audit.
placement, sashes, everything.
It's basically we come and do, and that's to pay for the audit. That's for build check to come to your factory, go through your process from your paper trail to your manufacturing process, and how you get it out the door and how you deliver.
And if you already have things like FPCs and all that kind of stuff in place, I suppose that's just a bonus for you.
It is a bonus for you. I mean, like I say, if you've already got a factory controlled system, whether it be ISO 9001 or even 14001 health and safety, those are bonuses, because generally it used to be 2 audits a year, but by us having this controlled document, we've got it down to one audit a year. Because normally they would, if you don't have ISO, normally they would do 2 audits a year, which obviously would then cost you £2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, there is I think the only extra cost is traveling and expenses on top of that, but that's the basic cost, yes.
All right, perfect, thank you.
Anybody else got a question? Well, there must be somebody. I was that interested that nobody wants to say anything, or is it because we're all on screen and nobody wants to speak up and make themselves look silly? I said there's no stupid question in this. There's always questions are pertinent to what we're trying to achieve.
I think you get a very, very good explanation of everything between the two of you. So I think that's.
I say if I'm available by phone or by email. If you've got any questions, please do just drop me a line, because it's beneficial that we get this off the ground. Our first company, John at JF Joinery, he's signed up. He's fully compliant now. He's making product with the lights tooling, with the training, full training facility. He's now got a third-party verification scheme, and he's a very good example of how this is achievable. It's not a large business. It's got 2 guys working on the shop floor, with John doing part of that manufacturing process, and he now has achieved it, which means he can go for jobs and open his portfolio, potentially branch out from where he is now. And John will tell you, if you ever want a good example, he's increased his productivity by 50% by going into this system. And that's not from me, that's from John himself. I don't have to plug him to say this. I have paid him a backhander, but no, not really. He is one of our advocates, and I'm sure a lot of the others are within our group know that the benefits of doing this is second to none.
Oh,
so anyway.
Sorry.
It's Brian Manners speaking here. Yeah, just on that point that you state, for a manufacturer to add SBD to what they do, is there a quantifiable value to them, do you think? Or can what is it going to mean from a business point of view? Does it give him X amount of access to more companies or architects, etc.? How does that work?
SBD is growing year on year out, because it gives the architects and the planners comfort knowing that it's controlled by the police federation. Anything with a badge on that's controlled by basically the police force is going to give your product more credentials against a bespoke joinery company says, oh, you don't need to have patch 24, you don't need to do this because nobody cares about it. It just gives your business more foundation, raises the profile to show that you are seriously a serious window manufacturer and not just a bespoke joinery business. And it will grow your portfolio, because these projects will be specified to have SBD badge. I had one of our customers, King's Rock Joinery, I've captured a large project. They need SBD, and they're coming on board shortly, because and this is a one-off self-build. So it's not just housing estates, like Doug said. This is one-off self-builds that are wanting security. They're not just having big ugly dogs and big security gates. They want to know that their product's robust. So it's going to increase the market share for sure.
Yeah.
Just adding to that is that we work very closely with various organisations and into government side of things, working with building regulations committees, and also talking directly to BRAC, to BAYS. And the government view now is that they want competency, they want quality, and secure by design is seen as one of the natural go-tos from the security side of things. So if you look at aluminium window manufacturers and PVC, there are very few now that don't offer secure by design products. It's becoming more the standard, and so from joinery companies who really want to get into the glazing market and the window and door market, then this is a fantastic badge to have, and it will just put people's minds at rest.
Was
You're
there
absolutely,
a question
you're
for
absolutely
Doug?
right.
There was a question I had for Doug, actually. Well, did you say, Doug, that not that many timber manufacturers actually have got SPD, or did I hear?
Well, yeah, I know what I was trying to get at was we've got some very large manufacturers that got SPD because they can just go and get all their products tested. The Velfax and Rationales of this world. Ideal Gombe. They can just do all the testing of all the product and all the range. What since I've been at SPD, and at various shows, Fit Show, whatever, there's some really good timber product. But the problem is they can't cascade evidence, like the other aluminium boys that have been, joining through droves in the last sort of 7 or 8 years. You know what I mean? They do use SPD as a sales thing, for architects, councils, homeowners, because, the police service is always on about security and trying to design, that design outside, or, whether burglaries still go on, people still got that fear of crime. So it's always very relevant. I think people, whether you build a self-built house, I mean, I've done my own actually, but I remember going to loads of shows, and there was people would come to me and say, I'm building my own house, what I've got to do, and they can't really go to little timber people because they do want SPD doors and windows, and so they end up at these shows at the big boys. So I think some of the smaller people used to approach saying, we want to join, but it's the testing that causes, because you can't cascade, which you can now, obviously, caused all the problems. And I know there's some fantastic products out there, you know what I mean? So, and we have got some members that have got testing, but there's not many in the small timber side. And I mean companies under 1 million, maybe, you know what I mean, turnover. I mean, there's a few medium size up to, then you got the big boys, you know what I mean? But we're being approached all the time by door and window companies, so it's not like we're not. I wouldn't say we were approached all the time by the smaller end. And I think this is maybe what's going to ungum that system. So architects do have more choice. I remember when I was looking at building my house, there wasn't a great deal of choice for timber doors. You know what I mean? You're very limited that have got the security tested. And I'm afraid people do want that. And it does sell, I can speak to a couple of marketing people and they will say, having that SPD, badge on there does help sales. 20 years ago, maybe not, but I think these days it definitely does. So
I think, Doug, if I can come in, I think Alfie Secure by Design here. I think in terms of tenders and requirements, to be fair, a lot of these are written in. It must be a Secure by Design company, or from a UK police service perspective, generally, okay, there are some bespoke sort of angles to this, but the basic requirement for the police, the UK police service, Scotland, Northern Ireland, England, Wales, is that the minimum requirement is past 2016 with the associated performance that Owen has gone on to. And a lot of these, to be fair, are quantified within tenders. Obviously, don't quote me on that, because what goes out there is a matter for local authorities, private housing estates, developers. But generally, it's that ticking the box that companies need to meet it. And then what we do is he's looked to drive, as Doug said, through marketing and PR, but we're actually enshrined within, for example, within Q, it sort of like says, look for, go and have a look at Secure by Design for further advice. We work with MCHLG, there's things going on right across the spectrum. We're also looking in counter-terrorism, and you may say, Alfie, why are you mentioning that to us? It's nothing to do with us. Well, let me tell you, at the lower end, we are looking at that. And timber, to be fair, for example, and I know it's not great times, to be fair, with shops and things being shut, but there are things that timber, to be fair, can meet. So we look at driving these, because you gentlemen and ladies aren't here to watch me and Doug do a handstand and high five. It's about business and your bottom line, and it's worth it for you. And from our perspective, we don't keep our current members satisfied and bring new members on. We don't have the companies out there that are producing products, whether it's windows, doors, alarms, bomb and ballistic, etc., etc. And that's why we push it and drive it to keep new members going. So when you look at the membership fee, is it worth it? We're going to stay with you. And that's why we have a very high retention rate, because we don't just sit on our backside. We look at promoting it, because without you guys and new members, we don't have the products that prevent crime, because Dixon and Dock Green's, and we need sort of private public sector companies to come in, and we continually drive that. So that's what we look at doing, to try and create some kind of advantage of being for your businesses from an SPD perspective.
That's excellent. Thank you. That's answered my question. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
I mean, I think the other thing I would say, I think some people have maybe been a bit scared of doing that certification bit before, you know what I mean? They haven't always seen the benefits, but I think, you know, if the companies I deal with do see the benefits for doing it, you know what I mean? And they do get these bigger contracts, you know what I mean? I've spoken to some in the past, and, you know, just one contract will pay for all that side of it, you know what I mean? By country mile, you know what I mean? It just depends if you can get into these contracts. So
the thing is that, yeah, not every job's going to be SPD accredited or specified.
No,
but it's not just about that. It's about promoting your product to a higher quality, and putting your company above and beyond what's out there against the competition. So if you've got three tenders all gone into the same job, and you've got a certification that says you've done the right things, and you can guarantee your product meets a certain credentials, you've got a better standing, a better chance to capture that order. But if you just go in there on an equal playing field and all three joiners are just three joiners, it's basically going to come down to price, or it's going to come down to who the customer likes the best. But this just changes the playing field a little bit. So if you go in there and say we've got full accreditation, we're factory controlled, all our products are tested year on, year out, we're backed by the Police Federation, customers don't need to know all the technical terms. If they know that it's supported by the Police Federation, they instantly go, oh, I feel a little safer now.
Sorry, I was just going to back up that point, Owen, that we work with some companies that are far more, they supply and install on the residential side of things. And even though it's not a requirement, to be able to say, oh, we're SPD certified, I mean, people, whether they need it or not, they will see it as, oh, blimey, well, that product is really secure. They don't, even if it's not a requirement, so it's a selling point regardless.
Yes.
Even if it is a requirement, so that opens up a lot of new markets for you, obviously. But the fact that you have it, and even with pricing things, exactly like you say, if you've got three tenders that are all, you know, if they're new builds, they're all going to require Part Q. But if you've got one that's SPD, I know certain people would probably look at that like, okay, well, they're all meeting the requirements, but that one's got SPD as well. So I think that it will help people. I think it will give you an edge, put it that way.
Well, salespeople, as you know, Steve, like to have things they can promote, things that they can say that are good about their product. If you go into to see a customer, and all you can say is, "I will do everything you want. How do you want your product made?" It doesn't sound very professional. But if you can go there and say, "Yeah, all our products are tested. It's got this badge, this badge, this badge, this badge," We're controlled by the industry monitors us and watches us, and we have to make the quality product, and we can give you a warranty that says that your product's going to last this amount of time. Suddenly you've got something that's really substantial.
Exactly, and it puts them at ease straight away.
I think
Exactly. The thing is, the plastic industry is doing this, have been doing this for years. The thing that annoys me about the timber industry as per se is that we're very slow on taking up the potentials that we are capable of doing. And we'll sit back on our laurels and say, oh, our customers don't want that. Our customers want whatever they want. The reality is the customer doesn't really know what it wants. It's you as salespeople or companies that should be telling them the best opportunities and the best things to do.
I think, Owen, what we've seen is that the little Mrs. Biggins on the street, for example, and definitely in industry now, in the old days, from SPD's point of view, secure by design, someone like me would go out, or Doug with a big size 10 police boots on, kick 7 bells out of the door, can't get in it with our public order training, and write a witness statement and say it's spot on. Those days are long gone. You're going through a formal process with proper test engineers that actually demonstrates that it meets particular requirements and gives, to be fair, the buyer or the specifier comfort that it meets particular requirements. Not only the security requirement, because there's no point in it ultimately secure and it rains and it falls off its hinges, or it's windy, for example, which pulls it in with 375. And this is what gives the advantage, the fact that you're actually meeting a specification that's backed up by your processes, i.e. with build check, to be fair, that demonstrates that that product does what it says on the tin. And that's secured by design and the likes of me and Doug. We ask for this minimum level. I mean, we go right up to, as I said, counter-terrorism. And if we said, here's the badge, just give us your money, rather than the 700-800 companies, etc. we've got on, I'd have 10,000. We need, to be fair, to have compliance, and people are starting to look for that, to be fair. Even more so, God forbid, with what's happened with Grenfell and the fireside, people now are looking more and more at, wait a minute, can you prove compliance to me? And that's what we're seeing. You guys have got to make a judgment on that yourself, but that's what we see from our side.
Well, that's what the Joinery Network wants to do. See, we've not got together just to sell licenses and wander off and take the money. We're here to actually grow this industry. I've got probably 8 years of working life within me. I want to pass on this knowledge that I have and support business and grow our whole industry and put it to a place that everybody feels comfortable and can go to buy a timber window knowing that they're buying a quality product. And it's really, that's what it's all about. You know, support from us as the Joinery Network, quality from the customer, and growing that customer's portfolio. Those are the 3 main points, really.
I think that quality product is the thing. I can remember when I worked in Peckham in London, one of the first burgers I ever went to was a timber window, brand new housing estate, just been built. I can't remember who built it, but they got broken into every day, these houses. Everybody going to London to work and, trying to earn the money to pay the mortgage. They were externally beaded and they only had panel pins holding them in. It was just, and that was a brand new house, timber. And we were going, what? I know things have moved on, don't get me wrong. I mean, but.
Not as much as you'd think.
No, hopefully not same panel pins. And they used to say to us, what do we do? There wasn't many glue systems around in that time you could use to sort of, it wasn't like, no more nails or anything, saying, it wasn't a lot of adhesives around, it was very, very difficult to tell people that, well, they just put the wrong windows in, you know what I mean? And the builder just left them to it, you know what I mean? So I think the industry has come a long way. I think the ones that have is the aluminium PVC and the big boys in timber. I think the ones that haven't is the smaller side, and that they're making quality product. This is what's so frustrating. They make really nice product, but they just don't maybe understand that testing and certification as much as maybe they.
Well, if you look at architects will have an MBS spec for every tender. And in that MBS spec, it'll have what SAP calculation they've got to achieve, what U value they've got to achieve, what security requirements they've got to achieve, and then a performance on that product, and then obviously you've got to have either a document control system or an ISO system to say that you can even tender for that job. And a lot of the smaller joinery businesses wouldn't even pick that up. They would just look at that and go, that's not for me. I'm doing the one window here and the one window there, and that's hard work. What we're trying to get here is a house full of products that are all made to the same quality, and actually make it easier for the manufacturer to make a volume of products rather than the odd window here and there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know governments are looking at local products and timber, you know what I mean, as a sustainable and local product. So you're in a good place at the moment, really, you know what I mean? And that's SBD's here to support you, really.
No, it's very exciting time. So thank you very much, everybody who's come along. Thank you to all our affiliates and our partners, to Doug and Elfie, obviously from SBD. Thank you, Luke and Andy and Neil for setting this all up. Any questions, like I say, if you think of anything after this, just drop me an email or send it to Andy or Luke, or even to Doug. Everybody's here to help you. So have a good rest of your day, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Owen. Thanks.
Cheers, Owen.
Cheers, Adrian.